Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video, I will have mostly US domestic issues to discuss. And they are related to Biden with the dynasties of Obamas and Clintons who are fighting for and against Biden. That's an internal fight between the dynasties, because that's how we have United States of America. We have citizens, but we have dynasties, like the Bush dynasty, like a Kennedy dynasty. In this case, now they try to create other dynasties. I think also Trump wants to create his own dynasty. You know, he's looking far ahead at Baron Trump, but let's don't get ahead of our skis yet. So that's the first one. I will show you how Obama doesn't back Biden, the Clintons back Biden, including the possibility of Hitlary Clinton return to run for presidency. That's not unbelievable. It's just a lot of chutzpah. It's a lack of self-awareness. But in politics, you sometimes don't have to have that. Otherwise, you will feel embarrassed of your own actions, and you will just say, you know what, I'm gone. But with that attitude, you won't be a politician. So those are the, let's say, the one of the topics plus the extra detailed topics. The other big topic we have here is the Secret Service, United States of America. Did anybody quit after the failure? It was not a success. Did anybody was asked or definitely quit? We're going to discuss that. Then the media shifts onto the body shaming of the Secret Service. Remember that woman who was trying to host her? Body shaming. Well, I think you should be in very good shape if you are a Secret Service agent. All right. There should be a must, a ABC 1, 2, 3 requirement. So they are focused on that one. We're going to discuss why the Secret Service was not fired. Anybody. And that reminds me of Condoleezza Rice, if you remember. I think she was a national security advisor, whatever she was, in 2001 in the terrorist attacks on the United States of America. All right, remember that one? She was not fired. Why? Because she didn't fail. She failed according to our values, but she didn't fail according to their interests. You know what I mean? Then I'm going to talk about the so-called Russian Gulags, current Russian Gulags. These guys are portraying the Russians' penal colonies as gulags. I don't think there are no relaxation resorts either. But if you don't know what the Gulag is, it's Stalin's and Kaganovich's and NKVD's gulags in the 30s and 40s and a little bit of 50s. These are the gulags. I don't think it was 50s. Maybe it was 40s. They were after the Second World War as well. So nevertheless. So if you look at those things, and they call them gulags nowadays in Russia, I will show you that's false. Never allow this system operatives, which is the so-called mainstream media, the corporate media, set that in your head that Russia has gulags. I will explain why, and I will give you the evidence that they are not gulags. Now, I will give you the examples of Paul Whelan. Now, Gerkovich was sentenced to about 14, 16, 15 years in a gulag, all right? But remember Navalny, I will use him as an example as well. Remember in that Arctic penal colony, I will tell you what he was able to do in that gulag in the Arctic penal colony. And we have the last topic. Donald Trump issues ultimatum to the world. And I will explain what does that mean. And you know what an ultimatum means, but regarding what exactly. So let's start with this first article coming from Russia Today. And I'm putting my goggles here. This is from the 21st of July, 2024. Clintons backing Biden, media says. Multiple Democratic Party stalwarts have urged the president to step aside following the last month's disastrous debate against Donald Trump. If you needed that debate to have you understand that Biden is not there, then you are a very poor observer and you lack analytical skills, and you're just a very subjective individual with a lot of interest. I mean, it was obvious for some of us, all right, that that guy was impaired about 6 years ago, before he started his campaign, that he didn't campaign in 2015 for the 2016 elections, if you remember that one. For us, it was obvious he is just a 95% dead person over there. Now, what's going on here? In the United States of America, we have dynasties. We don't have nobility ranks, or how do you call them? Nobility, always escapes this word. Not ranks, not names, honors, whatever you want to call them. You know, you're not a sir or this or that. But you have dynasties. And those dynasties were created through certain kind of slight, switch the hand. And that is, for instance, the Kennedys. And then we have the Bushes. If you don't remember how the Kennedys made part of their little fortune, remember the Prohibition time. Then you got the Bushes. Remember, one of the Bushes was a banker, and he did some business with some bad dudes in Deutschland. And then he received some money and so on. And they created a dynasty. Remember Herbert Bush, and then you got the cuckoo, the other Bush, and then they tried to have Jeb Bush, and Jeb Bush the dynasty was killed at that point by another emerging dynasty, the Trump dynasty. Then you have Clinton, and Clinton has its dynasty with that Chelsea Clinton, with all her things. They couldn't change the reality anyway, and she's waiting in the wings, to be propelled into the leadership position of this country. In the meantime, the Hitlary is still alive, so she won't allow her daughter yet. Clinton, the guy, is just what he is, and so on. So that's a dynasty that's almost ready to die. Once these two guys, Clintons, are gone, Hitlary is gonna be gone forever. Then you got the Obamas with big ambitions from Michael, and Michael really wants the daughters. You see how I said the daughters? I didn't mention the pronoun. The daughters to succeed from Harvard, because they're very bright, like their parents. And there's meritocracy in the United States of America 100%. I mean, if George W. Bush went both to Yale and Harvard, Ivy League schools, then you imagine what do we have here in the United States of America. So when someone says, I graduated at Harvard or Yale or Princeton or something, you know what you should do? All right, open your mouth. Let's talk about it. Let's ask you two questions. If you want to know, if you want to figure out someone's, how do you call it, intellectual sincerity, honesty, you ask them two questions. One, you ask about the conflict in the Middle East, right? And those guys over there. And the other one, you ask about divinity. And based on those answers, which should take you about 2 minutes to evaluate their answers, you realize if that person could be objective or is, unsincere. Nevertheless, so Clinton's now, and then Biden's Obamas, and then you have the Trumps. These guys are trying to destroy the Trumps dynasty. You'll see. Now, what's going on further here. So former US President Bill Clinton and his wife, former Secretary of State, that's an appointment. That's not an elected, okay? But hey, meritocracy. Because she proved that she has a lot of foreign policy experience. So anyway, have privately thrown their weight behind Joe Biden as a Democratic Party's candidate in the November 5th. That's the first one. Next one. This comes from CNN. Clintons privately urge donors to keep giving to Biden as long as he remains presumptive nominees. And these are the Clintons. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so you got this. Next one. Hillary Clinton floated as mightiest of all. So they activated their media propaganda operatives to push for her, I don't want to say comeback, because she never had something. Biden replacement in column gets mocked online. So this is by Fox News. So some, but even if we talk about this, it's already too much. It's already too much. Remember, it's a fight, it seems like, between who owns the party. I heard before, or I read, and my information was telling me that the Democratic Party or Democrat Party was owned by the Clintons, and they pulled the strings. And then little by little it started to emerge the other dynasty, the Obama's dynasty, and no, actually the current Biden administration is entirely owned and answered to Obama's, because most of those guys in Biden's administration are from Obama, not from Clinton. But you can say, well, Clinton was the Secretary of State of Obama at one point, appointed, so they make kind of like a peace, which is Obama just grabbed on Clinton's back and now they're on top of it. But I don't care. I don't think they're good for our country. That's what I think. If we are looking at real values. Next one. Let me show you this. Just a few stories. Biden angry with Obama over calls to step down from presidential race. Obama says Biden should consider dropping out. Biden pressure mounts as number of Democrats and probably Obama, All right, so you see this Obama really not backing his vice president. What's going on here with this antenna? All right, doesn't want to back his guy. And why? Because he's got, I think, group interests. Group interests, nothing else, group interests. And I don't care about group interests, because if I care, then we're going to clean the house in a certain way. You know what I mean? If they fight for their group interest, well, my group interest, if it should have a group, how do you call it, awareness, identity, but these guys are stripping us of our identity, so we don't fight back until we're going to turn into minority, and then they will be paying us back for everything we didn't do. All right, next article and next topic, we're going to talk about social services. Yeah, Secret Services says it denied Trump additional resources even as his team complained. I would like to know who gets fired and why not. And this is the famous or infamous Secret Service person, very good at nothing. And we have 3 women here. I feel safe already. I think behind her is another one. But anyway, so good for them. I'm not denying their courage or anything. I'm just, I know in the government, diversity, equity, inclusion is a big thing. And I know who runs that shit. I know that in the state of Michigan, 100%. Who runs it and who is supposed to shut the hell up. All right, because it's our time now. What does that mean? Well, so wake up, my friends, and by the time you're going to be dead, your children will be these guys' servants, to put it mildly, but use the other word starting with the S, not shit, but something else. You'll see. And if you don't believe me, think about I think it was 1806, Haiti's, how do you want to call it, genocide of certain kind of people in their island, on their island, or the island, let's put it this way. All these guys. Why? Because of previous, and so on. Yes, that was bad, but they eliminated all. So just keep an eye on that one. When you hear people like, hey, you owe me something, I want this, I want that. Well, really? You get what we give you. Oh no, that's not fair. Payback is coming. You'll see. You'll see, my friends. By that time, probably we will be dead. So here she is. Next one. Secret Service chief. This another person right here of interest. Noted a 0-fail mission. It was a 100% failed mission. After Trump rally, she's facing calls to resign. She should have resigned on her own if she has any, but she doesn't, because she's the first whatever, which I don't care for. I want quality. I don't care who that person is. I don't care what kind of group you come from or you belong to or you want to belong to. That's not the point. The point is you have to be prepared to be the best. If you're not the best, off. Remember Trump, let's think about this like in this way. How many targets are important to be protected in the United States of America right now? So obviously the president, the vice president, and then you got some secretary of state, secretary of this, right? You have to all these details, and then you have what? Former this, former president, which you don't really care about those guys because they're out of the public life. But you have Trump. Don't you think that Trump would be an A target or a person of interest to be protected? I think so. So you should put on in that detail the best that you have, the best that you have. And they have the best. They have the best. Or not? Or not. So again, that was a failed one. It was one strike, one failure, 100% failure. There were no 3 or 4 attempts that I know of. Have you heard of 3 or 4 attempts already? And these guys are just stop these guys in their tracks. No, this was the first time that we know of, and they bragged about it. No, I mean they would have bragged about their times when they thwarted this and thwarted that, and this was a success. Success to one point that guy did not. You know what I mean? But nobody's fired. Nobody. I would start first with the person who organized for all this protection detail. Or everything, line of sight, all that. That guy should be out, gone forever. You say, well, mistakes happened. Well, that's your only job. It's the only job you have is to protect, and you failed. What do I mean to say? It's like you are a cook, and I order a meal at a restaurant, and you give me the meal, and I'm like, shit, burnt, and what am I supposed to say? Oh, try again? That's the only job. That's why you're over there. That is A or nay, or yay or nay, baby, and you failed. Anybody fired? Not yet. The Secret Service agent who protected Trump, I'm gonna destroy this one. Cuckoo. All right, that person, or here, there she is now the target of a vicious body shaming campaign. Well, lose weight then. You don't like being made fun of, and you don't like your condition, change it. Don't try to make me shut the fuck up. That's not how freedom of speech and a democracy works, okay? You don't like this? I don't like it either. You change your condition. You baby doll are too young to be experienced. That's my opinion right here on your face. But nevertheless, and that matters, experience matters. So we should now feel ashamed for this Secret Service who took the job. And remember, I mean, let's put it clearly. I don't know how trained she is. I have no idea. But when I look at someone, let's say a tennis player who grabs the racket and moves around, or a soccer player or football player kicking the ball for the first time, or moving on the pitch and looking around, I know if that person is experienced or not. You don't have to tell me that. I know. Why? Because I'm good. I'm normal. All right? You don't have to, if you know something about things. If you don't know, yeah, you wait for everybody else to tell you how things are around your life, because you're a baboon. Right? So every weasel will baboonish you. So in this case, when I see a look at that person moving around, how she holds it, how she holds the pistol, and how she's doing it, she is not good. Not good, and she should be the best. Right? So don't give, I mean, you can give me freedom of speech, but I know I'm right. Why? Look around, and if you don't see that, then you need more experience. Go around the block a few times, or even halfway. You don't have to go many times to figure that out. So now let's go to the gulags, shall we? All right, right here, CNN. Paul Whelan tells CNN, remembers Paul Whelan is that Canadian-born Marine American detained for no reason, but Russians claim they caught him red-handed with the documents and all that, confidential and and he is in a gulag. He is in a penal colony / gulag. What do you have? So this guy tells CNN, how in the hell you tell CNN if you're in a gulag? He has sympathy and empathy for the Jewish Wall Street Journal media operative called journalist, but expresses hope following sentencing. So this guy is in a gulag, they say. Gerkovich is sent in a gulag, but he was able to talk to CNN. If I would I would be in charge of a state like Stalin, and I would have a gulag. Do you think that Mr. Paul Whelan or Gerkovich or Navalny would talk or tweet to anybody? I guarantee you not. Probably he would not even get to the penal colony because that's the way Stalin and Kaganovich and NKVD and those guys in charge, we can't call them by their names, right? We're doing. If you want to know more about it, I suggest you look into the Gulag Archipelago, the book written by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and you're going to find out who was in charge of the gulags and who were in charge of the commissars in the Russian Soviet Union. All right? It's politically incorrect, so be careful. You're going to find out things that might disturb you. Why? Because you have to love them. But you find out the crimes, you're going to have a, how's that, cognitive dissonance? So here we have him. He talks to CNN in a penal colony, in a gulag. Never when I hear that again. All right, let's go to the next article. Related to this. This is from Newsweek. This is from February 17, 2024. Remember, 6 months ago or so? Navalny's prison interview revealed. So Navalny, who was in a penal colony, was interviewed in a penal colony, in a gulag, remember? Right here. 6 months before his death in an Arctic penal colony. There you have it. Next one. BBC. This is from the 26th December 2023. Alexei Navalny, don't worry about me. Putin critic says from Arctic prison. So he has taken, Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny has taken to social media. How in the hell you have access to social media in a penal colony, in a gulag? Never I want to hear that again. To tell his supporters not to worry about him. You got that? And we find out here, writing on X. So he has access to Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, that he was the new Santa. Mr. Navalny confirmed on Tuesday that he has been moved to the IK3 penal colony nicknamed Polar Wolf in a northern town, somewhere, right, the toughest jails in Russia, right? Now, between you and I, there's no fun to be in a penal colony, obviously, but these guys are creating garbage that there's not there. And I'm going to tell you a short story of my first question, one of the first questions with how these guys here are propagandized or misinformed, disinformed. And that happened in the 1990s, let's put it this way, or maybe let's say 2000 and 2000s, early 2000s, more than 20 years ago. Let's put more than 20 years ago. I was reading. I went to the U.S. In the U.S. Library, and in the library I took some. It was a like it was the Webster from A to Z. Like I don't know this how many books, and on these things you read A, B, C, B, 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 B. So I got to Romania. I was looking to Romania. I was reading what these guys wrote about Romania. And in that web, and it was not the only one I found like that, they said that Ceausescu destroyed churches, Ceausescu the bad guy, communists destroyed churches, banned religion, did this to the priest, did this with whomever worship. That was a lie. It was a lie. You can go right now and see the churches still being there in Bucharest. I made some videos and you can check them. Right in front of Ceausescu. That was a lie. I lived through that. It was not illegal to go to the church. There were services in the church. There were priests, most of them, or some of them. No, I can't say most because I don't have but I know some of them were in the security services, the secret police. So they allowed this to happen. But these guys were saying, yeah, they banned it on paper. Again, and I said, these guys either don't know or they're lying. And with time I realized they are lying. Why? To show how bad it is over there and how great you have it here. None no more. None no more. Remember, go and tell as Candace Owens tweet those guys those things about God. No, Jesus is. Remember, just say that and see. But you can say Moses is fantastic too. And Moses, just read his genocidal orders he received in the Old Testament. It's right there. I wrote two books on that. Go and get them on Amazon on God's nature. So hey. Even Moses is on the. I remember when I visited the Supreme Court, I went inside the building, and there's Moses right there with his, with the laws, the 10 laws, and those laws were not from humankind; they were for them. But anyway, and that's very strange because there are some things that they can bend it, and among them they qualify, but among the nations they don't qualify. Read about it and read the Talmud. I suggest you do that too. It's very revealing. All right, so right here we have Trump who sends an ultimatum. Trump calls for hostage release ultimatum, and I'm quoting, "You will be paying a very big price." He talks about the American detained all over the world. Well, I wonder, Gerkovich, Whalen, Brittany Griner, the basketball, whatever, Were they detained and they were just hostages? This one is hostages, or they are, you know, people who committed a crime in that country and they went to the system. It's you be the judge, but Trump threatens those guys. I wonder who he is referring to. I'm thinking, is he referring to Gerkovich, the first one, to the guys in the Hamas? The Hamas will release the Jewish Americans, 3 or 4 they have, will release them, and will Trump let them off the hook? I don't think so. I don't think so. What Trump is doing right now, he's just gaining the support of AIFAC. You know that lobby, AIFAC? All right, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And not only that, he wants to be good with the booze. All right, my friends, thank you very much for being with me again today. He gives the ultimatum. Have you heard the Russians giving an ultimatum? The Chinese giving ultimatums? Only these guys, because they are morally superior to everybody else, and the Canadians. The Canadians, I'm talking about idiots Trudeau, not the Canadian people. But hey, if you look at it, the Canadian people voted for Trudeau as the American people voted for Biden and the other perverts. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.